Hello everyone, welcome back to the Commander's Garage. Today we're going to be reviewing the draconic structure deck, or as everybody else calls them, the Dracons. My original copy of this video did get corrupted before it got uploaded. That's why this is a lot later than the rest of them. But let's get to it. First up we have Vondis, Rage of Ancients, 3, a red, and a green. You get a legendary Dragon Barbarian, 5/4 with Enrage for whenever he is dealt damage. You create a 5/4 red and green Dragon Spirit creature token with when this creature deals damage, sacrifice it. Whenever you roll one or more dice, you may have vondis deal 1 damage to itself. Up first is the creatures. We have Dragon Master Outcast for a single red. You get a 1/1 human scout with at the beginning of your upkeep. If you control 6 or more lands, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. Then we have Dragon Lord Servant for 1 and a red. You get a 1/3 Goblin Shaman, which reduces all your dragon spells you cast caught by 1. We have Turin Mauler for 2 and a red. You get a 2/2 Changeling with whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may put a 1/1 counter on it. He's technically a dragon. Dragon Speaker Shaman for 1 and 2 red. You get a 2/2 Human Barbarian Shaman with dragon spells you cast 2 less. And after that we have Chaos Dragon for 1 and 2 red. You get a 4/4 Flying Hasty Dragon who is forced to attack each turn. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player rolls a d20. If one or more opponent has the highest result, Chaos Dragon cannot attack those players or planeswalkers they control as combat. We have another shapeshifter in the form of Chameleon Colossus for 2, a green and a green. You get a 4/4 shapeshifter with protection from black and pay 2 green, and it gets +X/+X, where X is its current power. We have Skyship Stalker for 2 and 2 red. You get a 3/3 Flying Dragon, and it has 3 different abilities. Each cost a single red to activate. You can give it +1 until end of turn, give it first strike until end of turn, or give it haste until end of turn. After that we have Thunderbreak Regent for 2 and 2 red. You get a 4/4 Flying Dragon. Whenever a dragon you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, Thunderbreak Regent deals 3 damage to that player. Neverwinter Hydra, XX green for a 0/0 Hydra. With whenever it enters the battlefield, roll X d6s. It enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the result. It also has Trample and Ward 4. Dragonborn Champion, 2, a red and a green. You get a 5/3 Dragon Warrior with Trample, and whenever a source you control deals 5 or more damage to a player, draw a card. And we have Anger for 3 and a red. You get a 2/2 Incarnation, has haste, and then as long as it's in the graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. Druid of Purification for 3 and a green. You get a 2/3 Human Druid with whenever it enters the battlefield. Starting with you, each player may choose an artifact or enchantment you don't control and destroy each permanent chosen this way. Vengeful Ancestor for 2 and red. You get a 3/4 Flying Spirit Dragon. With whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you goad each creature. And whenever a goaded creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to its controller. Opportunistic Dragon. For 2 red, you get a 4/3 Flying Dragon. With whenever it enters the battlefield, choose target human or artifact an opponent controls for as long as Opportunistic Dragon remains on the battlefield, gain control of that permanent, and it loses all of its abilities, can't attack or block. Then we have Walgar of the Icewind Dale. For 3 red-green, you get a 4/4 Human Barbarian with melee, which gives it +1/+1 for each opponent you attack this combat. If a creature you control attacking would cause a triggered ability or a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Demanding Dragon, 3 red for a 5/5 flying dragon. Enters the battlefield, deals 5 damage to target opponent unless that player sacrifices a creature. Scourge of Valkis, 2 red. You get a 4/4 flying dragon. And whenever it enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of dragons you control. And then it has pay 1 red, and it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Then we have Earth Cult Elemental for 4 red. You get a 6/6 elemental. With whenever it enters the battlefield, you roll a d20. If you get a 1 through 9, each player sacrifices a permanent. A 10 through 19, each opponent sacrifices a permanent. Or a natural 20, each opponent sacrifices 2 permanents. We have Horde Smelting Dragon for 4 red, 5/5 flying dragon. Pay 3 and a red, destroy target artifact, and it gets +X/+0 until the end of turn, where X is the artifact's mana value. Everybody's favorite, Savage Vent Maw. 4 red, flying 4/4 dragon. Whenever it attacks, you add red, green till end of turn. You don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Then we have Kaluth, Unrivaled Ancient, for 5, a red and a green. You get a 4/4 flying and hasty dragon. Whenever it attacks, add X mana of any color of any combination of colors, where X is the total power of attacking creatures. Spend this mana only to cast spells until the end of turn. You don't lose the mana as steps and phases end. Atarka Wildrender, 5 red for a 6/4 flying trample dragon. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, it gains double strike until end of turn. Skyline Despot, 5 red, 5/5 flying dragon. Enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. As long as you're the monarch, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying at the beginning of your upkeep. Shaven Hellkite, 5 red for a 5/5 flying dragon. With 1 and a red, deal 1 damage to any target. Terra of Mount Volus, 5 red for a 5/5 flying double striking dragon. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain double strike until the end of turn. And the last creature we have is Bogarden Hellkite for 6 red. You get a 5/5 flying dragon with flash. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Up next, we're going to go ahead with our instances. We have Return to Nature, 1 and a green, choose 1. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or exile target card from graveyard. Then we have Berserker's Fury for 2 and a red. Cast this spell only before combat, or during combat before blockers are declared. You roll two d20s and you ignore the lower roll. 1 through 14, choose any number of creatures. They block this turn if able. 5 to 10, you choose which creatures block this turn and how those creatures block. Beast Within, 2 and a green. Destroy target permanent. Give them a 3/3 beast instead. Spit Flame, 2 and a red. Deals 4 damage to target creature, and whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay a single red. If you do, return Spit Flame from the graveyard to your hand. Magma Quake, X red, deals X damage to each creature without flying and each planeswalker. Colas Will, X red and a green. Choose 1. If you control your commander as you cast the spell, you can choose both. It'll deal X damage to each creature without flying and destroy up to X target artifacts or enchantments. Return of the Wildspeaker for 4 and a green. Choose 1. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. Kindred Summons, 5 green. Choose a creature type. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creatures of the chosen type, where X is the number of creatures you control that are that type. Put those cards onto the battlefield, and then shuffle the rest of the revealed cards into your library. Then the last one we have is Decree of Savagery, 7 green. Put 4 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. It also has cycling for 4 green. Whenever you cycle it, put 4 1/1 counters on target creature. After that, we have sorceries. We're going to start off with Row. For a single red, deal 1 damage to target creature you control. That creature gains trample. Draw a card. Explore. 1 and a green. You may play an additional land drop this turn. Draw a card. Rapid Growth. 1 and a green. Search for a basic. Put it on the battlefield tapped. Cultivate. Search for up to 2 basic lands. Reveal those cards. Put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, the other in your hand, then shuffle. Chain Reaction. 2 red red. Deals X damage to each creature where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. Shamanic. 5 Revelations. 3 green green. Draw a card for each creature you control, and then it has Ferocious. Gain 4 life for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. Rickshar's Expertise. 4 green green. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Whenever you may cast a spell with mana value 5 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Wild Endeavor. 4 green green. Roll 2 d4s. Choose one result. Create a number of 3/3 green beast creatures tokens with equal to that result. Then search your library for up to the second result's number of basic lands. Put them on the battlefield tapped and shuffle. That wraps it up for our sorceries. We're going to go ahead and move right along to the enchantments. Up first, we have the new class card, Barbarian class, for a single red. And then you can level it up. Level 1 is what you start at. If you roll 1 or more dice, instead roll 2. Roll that many plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. Level 2, you get 2 by paying 1 and a red. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains a menace until end of turn. Level 3, you pay 2 and a red. Creatures you control have haste. I'm not sure if I went over it with the other classes, but each level you have is not like a saga. You still have access to all of that. So you'll have access to level 1 even when you're at level 3. After that, we have Colossal Majesty for 2 and a green. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Garruk's Uprising for 2 and a green. Whenever it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. And whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Maddening Hex for 1 red red. You get an enchantment or curse, enchant player. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, roll a d6. Maddening Hex deals that much damage to that player equal to the result, and then you attach Maddening Hex to another one of your opponents chosen at random. Indomitable Might, 3 and a green for a enchantment Aura Flash. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3. Enchanted creature's controller may have it assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. Outpost Siege, 3 and a red. Enters the battlefield, choose Khans or Dragons. Khans, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. Dragons, whenever a creature leaves the battlefield, a creature you control leaves the battlefield, Siege deals 1 damage to any target. Grotesque Violence, 2 red red red. If a creature you would control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double the damage instead. Warstorm Surge, 5 and a red. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. That's it for the enchantments. We're going to go to the artifacts. We have the obligatory Soul Ring. We have Sword of Hours, 2 for a equipment. Whenever equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 count on it. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, roll a d12. If its result is greater than damage dealt, or 12, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. It's equipped for 2. Have Arcane Signet, 2 tap for 1 color of any tap for 1 mana color that's in your commander's color identity. Roll Signet, 2. Then you pay 1 into it, tap it at red green. Bag of Tricks, red green. Pay 4 and a green, roll a d8, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with mana value equal to that result. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Command Sphere, 3, tap it, add add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Sack it, draw a card. Dragon's Horde, 3. Whenever it enters the battlefield when a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, put a gold counter on it. You can tap, remove a gold counter, draw a card, or you can tap to add 1 mana of any color. Component pouch. 3. Tap it, remove a component counter from it. Add 2 mana of different colors. You could also tap it, roll a d20. If you get a 1 through 9, you put 1 counter on it. Or a 10 to 12, or sorry, 1 to 9, you put a single counter. 10 to 20, you put 2 counters on it. Heirloom Blade. 3 for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+1, and whenever the equipped creature dies, you may reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with it. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of the library in any order, and equips for 1. Then we have our non-basics. We have Desert, taps for colorless, or taps to deal damage to target attacking creature. Only activate it during the end of combat step. Underdark Rift, taps for colorless, you pay 5. Exile it, roll a d10, put target artifact, creature, or planeswalker into its owner's library just underneath the top X cards, where X is the result of the die roll. You can only activate that as a sorcery. Mosswort Bridge, which has Hideaway, which you look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, and put the rest on the library. And then it taps for a green, or you can pay a green, tap it, and play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you control creatures with total 10 power or greater. Exotic Orchard adds 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent can produce. Path to Ancestries enters tapped. Taps for 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. And if mana is spent to cast a creature that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Haven of the Spirit Dragon, taps for colorless. Taps for 1 mana of any color, spend it only to cast a dragon spell. 2, sacrifice it, return target dragon creature card, or Ugin Planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. Crucible of the Spirit Dragon, taps for colorless, or you pay 1, tap it, put a storage counter on it. Or you can tap it and remove X storage counters to add X mana of any combination of colors, spend this mana only to cast dragon spells or activate dragon abilities. Command Tower, adds 1 mana of any of your commander's color identity. Game Trail, enters the battlefield, reveal a forest or a mountain, or it enters tapped. Cinderglade, enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Mossfire Valley, pay 1 into it, add a red and a green. And lastly, the Gruul Turf, which is the Ravnica Guild land that bounces back to your hand. And then for the basics, we have, if I could actually grab them without dropping them again, 12 of the new mountains, and then do believe 17 of the new forests. Like I said, sorry about this one taking so long to get out. My original video got corrupted. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.